Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, most people know the big fight in the lightweight division, WBC style, title match between Devin the Dream Haney and Jorge Linares. We know now, that Devin Haney won by a unanimous decision in a good fight, eventful fight, and significant fight, right? Jorge Linares, we were talking about it, is all that. This is a guy who's definitely too dangerous to fight Ryan Garcia. That was the narrative. Guy who had Lomachenko down, and a guy with punching power and speed. We all know this, right? And experience at 35 years old. So 22-year-old Devin Haney handled his business in a fight that he dominated. I think Devin Haney won 9 rounds, if not 10. But like round 4, for example, I think was close. Most of the time when it's close, you just give it to the guy you like. I didn't think that Linares won that round, but he landed a couple of punches, and then we forget about all the other punches, especially the body work from Devin Haney. You can see shades of Floyd Mayweather here. The punch to the chest and then back to the solar plexus, bring the guy down, left hand, the jab to the body. That was looking good, right? Also left hook to the body. Against a guy that is dangerous. Do you know that's going to counter punch? Do you know they got combinations? You know they have speed. That's pretty awesome. The narrative here, though, is that Haney got shook in round 10 towards the end of the round, and it reminded me right away, because he stumbled back to the round a little bit, little stanky leg thing going, because your boy Linares clipped him. It reminded me it was a punch in Mayweather fight with Madonna, and I don't remember if it's the first or second one, but towards the end of the round, Mayweather got clocked. I think that was Mayweather's probably one of the hardest punches Mayweather had to take, and he stumbled over to the corner too, but he came back and handled his business just like Devin Haney did. Handled his business in the next 2 rounds and brought the fight home. Now I hear that he was holding. Devin Haney held in round 12, I think, 2 or 3 times. Not the whole fight like a lot of fighters do. So I think Devin Haney mastered this. I think the narrative shouldn't be Devin Haney got hurt. The narrative should be here, this 22-year-old guy who Lomachenko didn't want to fight, who Teofimo Lopez didn't want to fight, who Ryan Garcia didn't want to fight, comes and fights dangerous Jorge Linares, who's too dangerous for Ryan Garcia, and wins 9 rounds to 3, definitely. That's pretty what's going on. That should be the narrative, right? And but that's not. They're talking about other stuff. And this is what's happening when I call these people Negro League fighters, right? They just don't get appreciated. They don't get these fights and stuff, and people are tripping. Let me just tell you what I mean. Now, Devin Haney lives in Las Vegas. Now, he's from Northern California, but he lives and trains in Las Vegas. He fights there. He gets booed. My man Linares is from Venezuela. I've just told you several occasions, there are no fights on American soil between a black person and a person not of color where they're cheering the black person if he's not directly in his backyard. It just doesn't exist, right? They're always going for the other person. If the black guy's younger, if he's less experienced, he's smaller, it doesn't matter. Who were they going for with smaller Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, right? Who are they going for with Andre Ward versus Kovalev? Right? It's disgusting actually, because the man lives there. It still was getting booed basically. It's incredible. And another thing too is, this is what bothers me sometimes. When you're a brother and you have your attributes, you might be a fast guy. You get in and out. You can box on the outside. It'll be considered boring. But let me tell you something. I've told you, we're living in the era of Tyson Fury. People seem to want to see a 6'9", 270-pound dude, 50 pounds heavier than people, dance around and put his hands behind his back and do feints all day. And they love that. So that's it. We got a guy that's 50 pounds heavier and bigger than everybody that you, from the outside, he's not destroying people. No. If somebody likes him, they should like you. Do not come in here and fight like you reminded me of Sugar Ray Leonard versus Roberto Duran. The first fight. Well, because Roberto Duran was doing this and doing that, Sugar Ray Leonard stood in the pocket, did well for himself, but lost the fight, right? Tim Bradley versus Provodnikov, right? Tim Bradley, after the Pacquiao fight, you know, he won the fight because the people who were judging the Pacquiao versus Tim Bradley fight were there, saw it was a close fight, and saw that Tim Bradley was probably fighting on two bad ankles. Couldn't push off anymore and was hanging in there with Manny Pacquiao. And maybe because they were people judging, they were like, man, that's a valiant effort, instead of just looking at what color the man is. And that's probably why he got the nod there, because there was some compassion there, right? And, you know, but what happens? He gets death threats after the fight just for winning a fight against Pacquiao. No, and doing his best against Pacquiao. Because he got a decision, he got death threats, him and his family. Next fight, he comes out there and acts a damn fool and stands in the pocket with Provatnikov. You don't want to do that if you don't got no chin. It was ridiculous. He was concussed 3 or 4 months after that fight with Provatnikov. And those are the silly things that brothers do, trying to please somebody who's not going to be pleased. Forget about him. Handle your business. He didn't need to be in the pocket. But that's what makes Haney's win even better. He didn't fight on the outside. He was walking him down at some points, trying to fight in the pocket with Linares, which you shouldn't be trying to do. But did it and came out winning 9 rounds to 3. That's ridiculous, because I think he could have probably pitched a shutout if he would have just stayed on the outside and jabbed him and got in and out. But he didn't want to, trying to please people. Stop it. No reason to please anybody. This is the boxing world. A boxing world says they like knockouts, but they don't like Wilder. A boxing world says they like skill, like Tyson Fury, but they didn't like Mayweather. Boxing world says they like heart, right? They didn't like Andre Ward or somebody, you know, and they don't like Terrence Crawford either. These guys come from the different spectrums, different fighting styles, but none of them are liked, which makes you have to focus on the reason why. Okay? So, bottom line is, Devin Haney is the dream. When they talk about Teofimo Lopez, they don't talk about him right either. They're talking about now, well, get the franchise out of the way. You could have been saying that a long time ago, with get the franchise title out of the way. Right? You don't have to do it at a Devin Haney fight. You could have done this at Lomachenko fight or anything else. That's what Lomachenko was the one who asked for it. If it wasn't for Lomachenko, we would not have the franchise title, aka Charlo belt, in the lightweight division. Lomachenko asked for it and then got his butt whooped by Teofimo Lopez, and Teofimo Lopez should have denied it, but he didn't. He took it and said, hey, I'm undisputed with this, knowing he's not. That's what you say. Don't do it at a Devin Haney fight, like Devin Haney has anything to do. What you should be saying at a Devin Haney fight, this is the man that Teofimo Lopez does not want to fight. He would rather fight Kambosos for less money than fighting this guy for undisputed. That's how you announce it. That's how you commentate on it. And that is the truth. But we always get around it. So we at the Devin Haney fight acting like, hey, you know, get the franchise out of the way, like Devin Haney has something to do with it. He has nothing to do with it. All Devin Haney is a 22-year-old young black man that is extremely dangerous and a member of the Negro Leagues. So let's handle that business, right? Let's see if we can get Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney for undisputed. If Teofimo Lopez gets past Kambosos, which I think he probably will, and then just get the undisputed fight. But it's not on Devin Haney. He doesn't have to do any chasing. He was the reason. He was the key to being undisputed. He offered him more money to fight him than Kambosos, right? So what else is he supposed to do? That's what I'm saying. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm about to here, y'all.